This is the assembly video of MMX8x4HT-400MC. These are the components, including the small parts. These are the circuit boards, the power supply. This will be in the enclosure already. These circuit boards, these two screwdrivers, one is BE1 at 75 Phillips, and this is BE 2x100, and a hex screwdriver which is BE 5.5. Okay, so we start with the enclosure, and that board is the Combi TPS2 HDMI input board. That's the screw with the washer going in that corner. In the middle, also with a washer. Another screw with a washer. Now comes the hex screwdriver and the hex spacer. And another spacer. Like that. Okay, that's a longer spacer in this corner, and another longer spacer. So these two are longer, these are shorter. Now comes this metal part. On top of the spacers that you just screwed in, and the lip is facing backwards.
Elbénáztam. Szeretnél bárki megnézni Gábor ajándékát közelről? Mielőtt becsomagoljuk?
That's a normal screw with a washer. And another one also with a washer. Okay, now comes the output board. On top of the other board. This is a screw without a washer.
Hát oda megy az a távtartó, ami itt van.
Yeah. Okay, so two screws go here and here, but in this corner another double spacer goes.
Azt is mondja, hogy egy kicsit nyomni kell a nyákot.
Merre?
Kifele, hogy itt a audio.
While you're screwing in that spacer, you might have to push the PCB towards the back so that all the connectors are flush with the enclosure.
Ezt még
here.
Nem tudtuk itt megoldani. Itt van egy LED pipe, amit benne hagyunk.
Okay, so you can see there is a LED pipe that is in there permanently.
Azt is mondjad, hogy ezt a nyákot nem fogjuk levenni róla. Ezt most csak azért. Ezt most ki is veszem. Ezt mindegy.
This PCB will already be installed on this one when you receive it, so you don't need to take care of this procedure. Alright, so you don't need to take out the LED pipe, you just install this PCB stack as one piece. Alright, now you take a normal screw with a washer and screw in that corner. And this corner as well.
Ez így.
Okay. Now comes this PCB, which will be the topmost layer. Okay. Now you take a normal screw with a washer and there are two holes. You need to use the one that's closer to the edge. Okay, and now a flathead black screw. There are three sizes. This is the middle one, the middle length.
És ebből újat kapnak.
That goes under the RS232 label on the seal screen. And now you're using the bigger screwdriver, and the same size goes under the two-pole Phoenix connectors there, and also under the Ethernet connector. Now comes the vertical PCB. You push it onto the 96 pole connectors as far as you can. You need to adjust that the holes are aligned, and this is the shortest flathead screw. Okay. Also make sure that the holes are aligned on this side. Ez a legrövidebb, vagy?
Nem, ez az a csavar, amit csak
ez is a közepes, de ez is az volt?
Igen.
Correction, this one and this one are the middle length screws, not the shortest ones. Now comes the metal part that holds the fan.
Azt hiszem ehhez kell a rövid.
Now this is the shortest flathead screw, holding the metal part to the back side on the top and the bottom. And you connect to this connector. This one is 3-pole, but a bit bigger than this one. So this is the bigger connector. you connect the flat cable of the topmost PCB, and there is a zip connector on that PCB, and you connect the flat cable that comes from the front panel LCD. So you push it in and make sure it's secure. Now comes the power supply, which is pre-assembled with the necessary cables.
Ez jön a hosszú fekete.
These ones are the longest flathead screws. You probably need to lay the enclosure on its side, hold the power supply from one side and screw it in from the other side. So you hold the screw there and just align the screw holes by looking from the other side.
Nem áll, ha megtalálom a lyukat. Jó, ezt majd Feti megvágod, mert az ilyen bénának nem kell, hogy tűnjünk. De tényleg nem találom, hát ez katasztrófa. Nem öhög. Na megvan.
It takes some patience.
És mondd, hogy ne húzzák meg.
Okay.
Teljesen,
So
csak úgy
there are
finoman.
2 screws holding the power supply in place. You don't need to fasten them too tight. Just enough so that it stays in place. Now comes the power connector, connecting to the main board, and the AC wires go onto the IC power connector. Számít, hogy melyik megy hova?
Igen. A barna alul. Ha minden igaz. Ha látnám is, de igen, nagy valószínűséggel igen.
So the brown wire goes below and the blue one goes above, and there will be maybe 1 or 2 millimeters of gap between the IC connector and the end of the wire. Now comes the grounding wire, which is already installed in the enclosure. That one goes into the middle of the power supply connector assembly. Like so. There is a translucent plastic part which goes on the top to protect against electric shock.
Még van.
Now come there's another hex screwdriver required. This one. It's used to screw in the golden hex screws above the HDMI connectors.
Nagyon remélem, hogy nem most fogom beletörni a HDMI-t.
Ezt se kell olyan erősen meghúzni?
Hát ezt nagyon óvatosan kell. A felsőket nagyon óvatosan, az alsó flangesek ezért nem nagyon számít.
You need to be careful when fastening these screws. The top ones only connect to the enclosure. There's no connection between the HDMI and the screw, so you need to be careful not to damage the screw hole. But the bottom ones are flanged HDMI connectors, so you can fasten them a bit tighter. Okay, there's another grounding wire. This is a flat washer that goes first. Then the wire, and then a hex nut. This is 5.5 mil. Like so. And now comes the top cover. That grounding wire connects to this screw. So there's a washer first, then the wire, another flat washer.
Ez kihúglik, bassz meg.
And then a nut. Alright, so before you can fasten it tightly, you need to lift it up at least in a 90-degree angle so that the wire is not stretched. Then you place the enclosure on top. Ezek ilyen középhosszúak?
Ez a hosszú.
A leghosszabbak?
Igen, csak nem ilyen, amilyen volt itt, hanem amivel ezt a kettőt fogadtuk össze.
Right, so these are the screws that hold the top part.
Összecsavarozzam, vagy bemondod, hogy az összeset elcsavarjuk?
Az összes ugyanilyen fajta?
Igen.
Okay, so all the remaining screw holes use this type of screw. There are 4 more on the front.
És akkor kapcsoljuk be neki, hogy itt kell.
Now let's power it on.
Mit hagyhattam ki belőle?
Nem, semmi.
And it's done.